The last time that you were in front of a set of escalators and some stairs, did you take the stairs? Hey there, friends. This is Rory Vaden, co-founder of Southwestern Consulting and New York Times bestselling author of Take the Stairs. It's kind of an interesting question, right? And for most of us, or most people, choose the escalator. But why is that? Why do we choose the escalator? I think a lot of times we don't even really think about it. We just kind of get on the escalator and do it. But if you study successful people, then you start to realize that success has almost nothing to do with a person's age, nothing to do with their ethnicity, their religious background, their racial profile, like their religious affiliation, or even their education level. But the one thing that every single happy, positive, successful person has in common is that successful people have formed the habit of doing things they know they should be doing, even when they don't feel like doing them. In other words, success in anything that matters to us in our lives is not about taking the escalator. It's about taking the stairs, about doing those things that we know we should be doing even when we don't feel like doing them. It reminds me of a story that I heard growing up because I'm from Colorado, and in Colorado, we are sort of world famous for the Rocky Mountains. And to the western part of the state, we have the Great Rocky Mountains. What a lot of people don't realize is that as a state, Colorado is divided almost exactly in half. And to the eastern part of the state are the Great Kansas Plains. It's very, very flat. Well, because of that unique topographical landscape, Colorado is actually one of the only places in the world that has both buffalo and cows in close proximity to one another. And there's a fabulous lesson to be learned about positivity from studying the way that these two creatures respond to storms. So when storms come, storms almost always brew from the west, and then what happens is they roll out towards the east. And cows do something that's very natural. A cow can sense that a storm is coming from this direction, and so a cow will try to run east to run away from the storm. Now, the only thing about that is that if you know anything about cows, you know they're not real fast. And so while the cows try to run east away from the storm catches up with them rather quickly. Well, without knowing any better, the cows continue to try to outrun the storm. But instead of outrunning the storm, they actually run with the storm, maximizing the amount of pain and time and frustration they experience from that storm. Isn't that stupid? Well, unfortunately, humans do the same thing all the time. We spend so much of our lives constantly trying to avoid the inevitable challenges that come along with the difficult circumstances that our very own choices have led us to be in. And we typically gravitate towards the path of least resistance. We typically move towards the escalator. We try to run away from the storm. We try to run away from challenges. And the key insight that ultra-performing, successful people have made consciously that many of the rest of us have not yet is this. Ultra-performers know problems that are procrastinated on are only amplified. Problems procrastinated on are amplified. Waiting always makes it worse. What buffalo do is very unique for the animal kingdom. You see, buffalo will wait for the storm to cross right over the crest of the peak of the mountaintop. And as the storm rolls over the ridge, buffalo will turn, and instead of running away from the storm, they will run at the storm. And by running at the storm, they run straight through it, which actually minimizes the amount of pain and time and frustration they experience from that storm. Such a great metaphor for positivity, right? Because there's lots of, we don't always get to choose whether or not we have storms in this life. There's bad things that happen. There's difficult things that come up. And most of us just try to, run away from the difficulties and the pain. And what ultra performers do is they be the buffalo. They charge directly into the storm. And we call that, in Take the Stairs, the pain paradox. And the paradox, it's from the paradox principle of sacrifice, which simply says, Easy short-term choices lead to difficult long-term consequences. Meanwhile, difficult short-term choices lead to easy long-term consequences. So the great paradox here is what seems easy in life, eating whatever we want, saying whatever we want, buying things we can't afford on credit, they seem easy in the short term. Those are the vehicles to the more difficult life. And inversely, the things that seem challenging and difficult, putting in the extra work, investing in our own self-development or education, like working out when we don't feel like it, or choosing a positive attitude in the face of negativity. Those things seem difficult, and they are difficult in the short term, but those are the very vehicles that lead to the easier life. And so the question comes down to, can you be the buffalo? Are you willing to choose the choice that most people don't make? Are you willing to take the stairs? Can you choose to have a positive attitude even when the world around you is maybe collapsing or just feels difficult, or you're surrounded by negativity? But that choice to be the buffalo, that choice to take the stairs, is the choice that sets you free. It's the choice that makes you happy. It's the choice that brings you success. So my friends, the next time that you are in front of a set of escalators and some stairs, take the stairs, because success means doing the things we don't always feel like doing.